Hello everybody! Today I'm gonna try and explain the ending of Edge of Tomorrow. I'm gonna try to make a logic of it. I've seen many questions on the internet and by my friends that regard the ending of the movie. In my opinion, it makes sense, and not only it makes sense, it would not make sense for the movie not to have that ending. So, I'll go into spoilers, I'll go into some very sweaty nerd territory, so suit up and let's get into it. So the first question that I read a lot about the internet is, why does Cage, in the end, wake up after he killed the Omega? Why does he wake up in the first place? And why does he wake up where the movie started? So, for argument's sake, I will do this whole video thinking that the first day where Edge of Tomorrow takes place is May 1st, and the second day is May 2nd. It's just a label. There's nothing to do with logic, it's just a label to get things clearer. So, when Edge of Tomorrow starts, we are at May 1st. It's morning, Cage is sleeping. He wakes up in his helicopter. I'm gonna give many hours. They're just hypothetical, they're slightly precise, but they're just for argument's sake. So, he wakes up more or less at 6 AM. He has been sleeping for we don't know how much. He wakes up, he goes to the general, he gets stunned. Then he wakes up in the airport, let's say at 10 AM. He was sleeping before. He got stunned, and now he wakes up at 10 AM. He doesn't know where he is. Bill Paxton comes over, tells him the whole thing. He gets training, he sleeps. Then the May 2nd starts, we pass midnight, and about at 8 AM, the forces of the English military depart, and about 9 AM we are at the beach where he gets killed. So between 9 and 10 AM, Cage gets killed. He kills himself and kills the Omega and obtains the ability for the first time. So now he resets the day with the Omega. So it's 24 hours before. He was sleeping at that hour, so he wakes up just as he woke up before, at 10 AM. Because before 10 AM he was stunned, so he would not be able to wake up. He wakes up at 10 as he woke up before. And he relives this day for many, many times. God knows how many times. At one point in the movie, he loses the ability. He loses the ability to reset the day because he gets a transfusion of blood. So now, this is the new timeline. It's the same timeline, just in this timeline, it will go on for him because he has lost the ability to reset the day. So at 10 he wakes up, he loses his blood at about 18, then he goes on a mission with J Squadron. The mission departs at more or less midnight, we don't know exactly. They arrive at Paris, and between a hypothetical 4 AM and 6 AM, Cage kills the Omega, and he gets the ability to reset the day by his own. The Omega is dead, and now he is resetting the day. So now, he goes 24 hours backwards from between 4 AM and 6 AM. So now he doesn't go back to 10 AM, he goes back to 6 AM. He was sleeping before 6 AM, so he wakes up when he actually woke up at 6 AM in the helicopter, which is where we see him wake up after he killed the Omega. So before, he was resetting the day from 9-10 AM where he got killed by the Alpha. So he would go back at 10 AM when he was stunned by the Omega. Now, he got killed the Omega between 4 and 6 AM, so he's going back to between 4 and 6 AM at May 1st. So, this, I believe, solves the problem of Cage waking up. Now is the bigger deal. Okay, the second question is a big question. It's very complicated. I will probably lose myself in trying to explain it, so just stick with me, and if I don't give a satisfactory explanation, I'm sorry, but it's just very complicated. So the second question is, when Cage wakes up for the final time, why does he wake up and the Omega is dead? Before, he would wake up every time and nothing would have changed. Now, he has killed the Omega and he wakes up and everything has changed. Why does this happen? Firstly, we have to consider what the scientists tell him, and that the alpha is just a part of the organism of the omega. It's the omega itself that resets the day. He is just sharing that connection when he kills the alpha. But then he kills the omega, and he resets the day. So, what happened between them? So, firstly, this is just to get in the train of thought of what could be. Firstly, we have to consider time as a circle for the omega. Time for the omega is not a straight line. At any point you kill the omega, he could be in the reset of the day. So time for the omega is like this. Okay, so now that we have this out of the way, let's open up this time and look at it as if we are humans. So it's a straight line. Okay. So, what the omega is, it's a time looper. It's not a time machine. This is very important for after. The omega is a time looper. It does not do this. It does not create alternate timelines. It does this. It adds a time loop to the already existing timeline. So, this is not what happens. It doesn't create alternate timelines. So, let's say that this is where Verdun, where Rita Vertasky obtains the ability. This is the day that Rita lives for many times. At the point where she loses the ability, this is the day this is the day, and this is the timeline that will continue for her every time. Because this is just something more that the omega, only the omega lives. It's a added 24 hours that go on as long as the omega wills. As long as the day is reset. So now that nobody is resetting the day, this gets out, and the 24 hours that were reset before now are a part of the timeline. Okay, so now we go on and on and on, and we arrive at the point where Cage is killed for the first time by the alpha. So now we have this time loop. Now, here is where the day gets reset 1,000 times. Okay. Cage loses the ability at one point. So now, he is living here. The time loop is gone for him. The omega may be resetting the day how many times it wants, but we don't know that. The time loop is gone. He is living a straight line. Then, so this is the point where Cage loses his ability. He continues living a straight line, but then something else happens, which is where it gets super confusing. The omega is killed. Let's say this is the point the omega is killed. The omega, as we said before, is living a constant loop. We don't know when the omega is resetting the day. Only the omega knows, unless we share the connection, unless Cage shares the connection with the omega. It's just resetting the day every time. So, when Cage kills the omega, we are at this point, and the omega is killed, so the time loop isn't completed. So now, we skip here. There is no time loop. Just the time loop just flattened itself and went on with the timeline. Problem is that when Cage is here and he has killed the omega, about 60 seconds after, so very here, Cage gains the ability to reset the day. So now he's going back 24 hours in his helicopter. Okay, the problem is that the omega is no longer there because it's not time looping anymore. Okay, so it's so difficult to explain. The omega was resetting the day. The omega was living a time loop when Cage killed it. But once it killed it, the time straightened itself. The timeline is single. The omega wasn't doing this. Okay, the omega wasn't creating another timeline. It was just looping and we are perceiving that as a straight timeline. But when the loop is interrupted, it's projected on the timeline, and when we go back, the omega doesn't exist anymore. There's no more time looping of the omega. The omega is wiped away from reality. That's why when Cage wakes up, the general is talking about a force from Paris that wiped out the mimics. Because the omega has been cancelled from reality. Nobody is resetting the day as it was doing for the omega. Now Cage is resetting the day, but he's resetting the day from a timeline. He's resetting the day starting from a timeline where the omega is dead. So there is no way the omega can live back here if itself is not resetting the day. I've probably explained it 12 different ways, and I still don't know if it's clear. If it's not, please comment below and ask me. I will be glad to answer. I'll just repeat it one more time. So, the omega gets killed in its time loop because the omega is always time looping. It's its characteristic. It's resetting the day constantly. And when it is killed, the time loop ends, and what we remain with is just a straight line of us humans. But at that straight line of us humans, Cage regains the ability to reset the day, and he resets the day. He goes back 24 hours when he gets killed. But at those 24 hours, in the timeline we live in, because there are no alternate timelines, in the timeline where we live in, the omega has been killed. There's no time looping with the omega. I hope that explains it. I really do. I don't know if I've been clear. Please comment below and ask me if you still have doubts. But that's pretty much it. Edge of Tomorrow, in my opinion, is one of the greatest sci-fi of the last 10-20 years. I think it will live on, and I think its logic is perfect, and it completes itself. If Edge of Tomorrow didn't have this ending, it would get much more murkier. We would have no idea what happened. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching.